This book, however, is an unapologetic speculative analysis on the most challenging question in the UFO subject. Who are the aliens, and what do they want? I didn't consider writing this book until early 2020, when I began to prepare 2 new lectures for an online conference. One was titled Humanity's Fourth Stage. It was a way to formulate the long history of our species into 3 stages, and an argument that we are now entering the 4th grand stage. Essentially the path from hunting to gathering, to sedentary agriculture and the birth of cities, to science and industrialization, to where we now stand in the early 21st century. An age of artificial intelligence and transhumanism. In other words, I argue that we are embarking on a deep and irreversible transformation of the foundations not only of human civilization, but of the human being. The other lecture I prepared that spring was titled Alien Agendas, an Executive Briefing. That lecture is the germ of this book. There I tried to gather what I consider to be the best evidence from the many stories of alien encounters and make sense out of them. I am well aware of how treacherous such a project can be. UFO sightings are hard enough to write about, but at least there are good cases attested to by multiple witnesses, electronic and physical evidence, and even declassified government records. You've got something tangible to work with. Yes, there are many gaps in that story, but at least there is a core of solid evidence that a researcher can work with. It's not much harder with claims of alien contact. It's not so much that the claims are not credible. In my own opinion, many of them are. But very few of them consist of multiple witnesses. Many of them occur under traumatic circumstances. Nearly all of them take place under circumstances in which the witness is wholly overmatched by the alien intellect, technology, and cognitive management capabilities. They can control our emotions to a large extent, and they have the ability to impair or even bury our memories of them. They work exceptionally well by stealth, much to the detriment of our ability to deal with them, not least of which is our own physiological resistance to the entire idea of alien encounters, which, in the context of our official narratives of what constitutes reality, often seems preposterous even to the person who experienced the event. All of which makes our information and judgments about them imperfect, to say the least. Despite those and other obstacles to our understanding, researchers have access to a great amount of information about alien encounters, to a lesser but still significant extent, also about the aliens themselves. The information is not entirely uniform. There are inevitable discrepancies in how people describe the beings they encountered. But the broad consistency of many accounts, including the arcane details, is undeniable. There are conventional ways of explaining those consistencies. Most common are psychological and social causes. For more than 50 years, our culture has been very familiar with the idea of alien abduction. Like it or not, the stereotypical notion of small gray aliens with large wraparound eyes taking people in the dead of the night for medical examinations has made its way into our collective psyche. It's a truly rare person who has never encountered the idea. Therefore, it's all contamination, argue quite a few skeptics. We can't ignore the possibility that any single account might be the result of social influences. But when we get into the details, many of these stories don't easily allow for a psychosocial explanation. Aside from the fact that many recollections of an abduction or encounter are vivid and highly specific, they are bewildering to the people having them. It's fair to say that many, maybe most, would prefer to believe their experience was imaginary.